Hey guys, welcome back tonight. I hope you had a really great day trading today. So this is my first video of the week. I did not do one Sunday or Monday night, but hopefully you guys are following me out on TradingView. I did post this chart for the entire week, so every level that we did hit so far should not have been a surprise to you. And the link to my TradingView is going to be in the first comment. Head over there and subscribe so that when I don't post a video, you still get the charts. So we did open this week with a gap down. This is Monday, not today. We opened with a gap down and we completely filled out this election island gap right here. Now remember, the past few weeks I've been saying we're gonna come down and fill this gap eventually. Well, we did. We opened the week and we filled that completely, and you could see right at the very bottom of that gap that became support, and we did come back up to the 35 EMA and back above the 4-hour 200 moving average. So this election gap caught us. You could see this is where we had the down gap right here and the up gap right here, and that just acted like a magnet. We dropped right back into it, closed it Monday to start the week, and then we filled it from the down up, or from the bottom up. That sounds better. Okay, so we got above the 4-hour 200 moving average for the close on Monday, heading into PPI. PPI today came in hot and we ended up gapping up over the 35 EMA, and then we got hit by that 585 level, which we did see as a consistent support and then resistance. That level was basically where the top of the election gap was, so when we came back down, we did see that level a lot. And going back even further, we did see that as support right here. And then prior to the election, 585 right here was resistance. So we're back at this old resistance level. And let's get back to, so after filling this election island gap, we came back up above the 4-hour 200 moving average, above the 35 EMA, and then we got hit by that old resistance level right here and brought back down. And the 35 EMA, if you've been following the way that it's been moving, right here we did get a rejection at the 50-day moving average, and then it came all the way down to the 4-hour 200 moving average. So this takes us to another really critical level right here. And then in SPX, we did see the same thing over here. We did open the week with a gap down, and immediately when we filled the bottom of that gap right here, we took it back up. We bounced back above the 4-hour 200 moving average, and we've been chopping around that level. So 35 EMA is holding above the 4-hour 200 moving average. We did see this level right here, this red dashed line. That was our previous support. And then recently turned resistance right here. Zooming out, you could see that was support after the election right here. And then before that, it was a resistance level right here. So that is at 58.67, and that is right above us, and that is where we have resistance right now. And today SPY did close up 0.14%, SPX up 0.11%, VIX down 2.5%, and we did trade within the implied move. And then QQQ opened the start of the week with a gap down underneath this downtrend line right here. So we have been making lower lows and trading between this channel here. We lower highs right here, and you could see that channel pretty clearly. And Monday we did gap down underneath that. And for now, it does look like we have reclaimed that downtrend line. And since that dip at the start of the week, we've been trading between that downtrend line and the 35 EMA. So the 35 EMA is still holding as resistance for right now. And QQQ closed down today 0.09%, VXN down 1.61%, and here we also did close within the implied move. This 4-hour 200 moving average is also down here to give us a little boost if we do drop down to it. And then IWM IWM did have a pretty decent update today, but to start the week, we did open with a small gap down, and then we dropped down, and right here to the penny, right on top of this gap is where we bounced. We did also have an oversold signal here, and then we flipped it around, took it back above the 35 EMA today. Today's open actually took us above that 35 EMA, and then we found ourselves inside this gap where we did see a little bit of resistance. So half of that gap is still open, and we are still trading bearishly. This 35 EMA is still underneath the 30-minute 200 moving average. Even though we did have a big update today, we are still bearish, and watch for this 30-minute 200 moving average to possibly be a resistance here. IWM up 1.14%, RVX down 1.61%, and we are within the implied move on the week. And lastly, we have DIA. DIA has had a solid start to the week so far. We did get above that 35 EMA on Monday, and then today we did trade above it almost completely. Dipped underneath here for a minute, but got back up and closed at the top of the implied move, and this was on Friday's contract, so at the top of the implied move for the week. So keep an eye on those two moving averages, and also just know the 30-minute 200 moving average is still resistance until the 35 EMA can cross back up. All right, so that is a recap of the last 2 days. Tomorrow we do have CPI in pre-market. Let's go check out tomorrow's levels. Alright guys, so before we head into tomorrow's trading ranges, please remember to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave me a comment. Please and thank you. And tomorrow's implied move for SPY is between 575 and 590, and that is from options. The 30-day average volatility is actually smaller than that, so we're not looking at that, and that does mean to expect volatility. And then on Friday's contract, 573 to 591. And to the upside, the first level to look for is going to be this level right here, 585. It was a previous support and resistance level. We did pivot around it quite a bit, and it was our resistance back here before the election. So let me actually zoom out a little bit here. I'm not getting quite the view I want. So 585 is right here, and right here we saw it as support, support, support. Then this is the election right here where we gapped up, but before the election it was resistance for 585, and that is where we got hit earlier this week, right there, 585. So that is our first level, and then above that we do have the top of the implied move at 590, and I'm seeing a level that I am missing. So let's put that in real fast. We have the down gap from last week right here, and that is at the top of the trading range. So the top of the implied move is 590. We also have that 30-minute 200 moving average. Top of the implied move, 30-minute 200 moving average, and top of that gap looks like a resistance trap right there. 591 on Friday's contract, and then to the downside we have the 35 EMA. It's just a little bit underneath where we closed. And then just underneath that, we have the 4-hour 200 moving average. If that breaks, then the next support, we do have a small one right here at 578, and then support right here at the very bottom of the trading range, just above the bottom of the implied move. So this right here is, they both round out to 575. So 575 and then 573 on Friday's contract. And SPX, the implied move over here is between 57.70 and 59.05, and that is from options. 30-day average volatility is less wide than that, so that is implying that we see some higher volatility tomorrow, and 57.75 to 59.30 on Friday's contract. So to the upside right here we have 58.70 That has been resistance this week and then last week right here. And prior to that, we did see that level a lot. Right here, it was support. Here we dipped underneath but got back up. And before that, we saw support here at that level. And then again here. And then before the election, it was resistance. So really important level at previous all-time highs before the election, and it is above us, and we have been seeing it as resistance. Top of the implied move, and right here we are also missing that gap, so let's get that in here. Top of the implied move also has this gap, and that is at 59.05. That's also the top of that gap and the 30-minute 200 moving average. 59.30 on Friday's contract, and if we do get all the way to the top for a day trade, that would be a great place to take profit. To the downside, 35 EMA, we're just a little bit above that. 4-hour 200 moving average. This is a big level, and if we didn't have CPI tomorrow, I'd say we'd probably stick around here for a while. Maybe chop around a little more, but because we have inflation data tomorrow, that may not play out that way. And then if we do break down, the bottom of the implied move is at 57.70. That is at this previous support and also bottom of the election island top gap, or island bottom, whatever it was. And then right here, the bottom of that gap is at 57.70. That's also the bottom of the implied move. And then 57.75 on Friday's contract. So really big trading range tomorrow. So not a difficult trading range for tomorrow, just knowing where the levels are. If we do break underneath that election gap, then we're going to have to dig a little bit deeper. But for the next 2 days, these should be some pretty decent targets. And QQQ, the implied move over here is between 497 and 513, and that is from options. And 30-day average volatility is exactly the same. And on Friday's contract, 495 to 514. And to the upside, we have that 35 EMA, which has been resistance all week right here. And then if we do get above that, then 513 is the top of the implied move. This gap is there as well, and that goes over the 50-day moving average also, and that 30-minute 200 moving average. So lots of resistance at the very, very top, but not a lot in the middle. So we could get a pop and then be mindful of this resistance wall right here. And then to the downside, we do have this downtrend line right here from these lower lows that we've been seeing. And we did reclaim that. We dropped underneath on Monday, but got back above. And you can see that line was holding it up today. If we break down, then the next level is going to be 497 and the 4-hour 200 moving average. I want to zoom out and see what that green dashed line is because, okay, it is a previous resistance, and then support. So that could hold as a support right there. And especially with that 4-hour 200 moving average there, I would at least expect a pretty nice technical bounce on that level. Of course, it's possible that we see lower, but I think the 4-hour would definitely catch us there, at least on the day. And then taking it over to IWM, the implied move over here for tomorrow, 214 to 225, and that is from options. And 30-day average is less wide than that, so we're not going to look at that today. 213 to 226 on Friday's contract. And then to the upside, we do have this down gap right here, which did act as resistance today when we got into it. And then the 30-minute 200 moving average is right there as well, with the 221 with the top of that down gap as well. So lots of resistance right in the middle of tomorrow's implied move. 225 is the top of the implied move, 226 on Friday's contract. And we also have 225 right here, which was a resistance level, and it did go further back. You could see resistance here as well. And then even further back, we did see a lot of trouble at that level here. So 225, we did obviously get above that, but now we're back underneath it, and it has been acting as resistance. So 225 is the top of the implied move, and it is a known resistance level. To the downside, we do have the 35 EMA, and we've been spending a lot of time underneath the 35 EMA. We have been fading the pops above it, bringing it back down underneath. So that is the pattern. If we do break underneath the 35 EMA, bottom of the implied move is 214. That is also right here, 214, 213 on Friday's contract. And then we do have that 211 level. 211 was a long time support and resistance. So right here, this is the 5-year chart. 211 is right here, and you could see that during 21 right here, we did see it as support. Then in 22, 23, 24, it was resistance. And at the end of 24, we got back above it, and we could see that as support. But we are just above that level. So know it's there. It is very important. And then, is that it? Do we have anything else? Yep, I think that is all for IWM. So we do have this up gap as well above that 211 level. And then DIA. So DIA is at the top of the weekly trading range, and the implied move for tomorrow is between 418 to 432, and that is from options, and it is a expanded range for tomorrow, almost $7 in each direction. And that is for CPI. And then to the upside, we do have the 30-minute 200 moving average, the 4-hour 200 moving average. So that 30 minutes slid underneath the 4-hour. That is a bearish signal. Above that, we do have 430. That is a previous resistance right here. And then 432 is the top of the implied move. To the downside, 35 EMA. We did manage to get above that and hold today. So that is our first level to look to. Signal line is green, and you could see a little bit of support right here. But if we break underneath, then look to 418 on the day, and then that would take us back into the trading range if we did trade down tomorrow. So there you have it, guys, the trading ranges for tomorrow. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my Trading View, because lately I have not had time to make as many videos as I have been, but I still have been posting charts out there. So check that first link in the pinned comment. Make sure you're subscribed and have fun, trade safe. Make sure you take profits when you're up, and I will see you guys tomorrow night.